Hello YouTube, this is Hunter Surge. I've decided to change the structure of how I'm doing these Vanguard news videos because I've started doing Illustrials content again. I want to just move these all into one video, especially so that when Illustrials news properly starts up, I have it's easier for me to do multiple news videos while leaving room for any other content I might end up making that week. Um, so so instead we are going to move to end of the week, release on Saturday, cover all the cards of the day from that week, cover both streams and whatever else. So yeah. With that said, let us get into it. We have 2 streams to go over. Cards of the day started back up. So let's get into it. All right. So starting with the Tuesday stream. Actually, I should pull up the presentation stream. Let's talk about that first. Okay, let's get into it. So presentation stream. This was hyped up as a big 15th anniversary Cardfight Vanguard thing. Kidani hyped it up. It was just a normal product stream. Just covering the normal things you would expect the winter product stream to cover because these things are quarterly. I remember back when Buddy Fight was around in particular, they would do these once a year or maybe twice a year, I think towards the end of Buddy Fight's life. But especially when they were once a year, it was such that it was really easy for them to jam these full of a ton of really exciting news because they would get to go, okay, here's our plans for the next block of the game. And when it's quarterly, you can't really do that. You can't really announce more than 2 products, because then you're just cutting into the next stream, the next quarterly strategy presentation. So I never go into these expecting much, but they did hype it up a lot, and a lot of people were really disappointed. And I understand why, but I just never get myself too hyped up. And also the stuff I'm really excited for this year, I know isn't coming until the back half when Divines is finished up, and we're going into whatever next series there is after Divines, because that's when any big design shifts they might be planning would be expected to happen. Regardless. They showed us this 15th anniversary promotional video. I find it really, really, really funny that Cinnamon is featured so prominently. I guess he is the only original V representative, but he got 2 course of anime compared to even the D protagonist got 2 years of being in the limelight. And 5 cores each to their name. They're doing a remaster of the original anime. I would like to see this also released in English because there's no official release of the English subs anymore for the first season, and that first season is the best product your anime has ever produced. And it really sucks that it's not officially available anymore. But I'm not holding up hope for that. I do not expect that to happen. They announced these Blaster Blade and Dragonic Overlord start decks to release on the release date that they came out in Japan back in 2011, February 26th. I wish they had tried to actually line this up for English as well, but whatever. We'll get into a bit more with this, but I am generally not a big fan of encounters, and there are a couple things that these decks are doing that make me more excited for them than I generally are for the typical encounter. But we'll get into it. Then we have DZ13. They showed the Dragon Empire guy, the Ryugi, I believe his name is. Ryuga. Yeah, Ryuga. That's his name. Piercing Thunder Dragon, Alphard Phantom. Literally looks like a Buddy Fight monster, but whatever. They're for the 15th anniversary, I guess. Actually, there's no 15th anniversary thing actually on this thing. So I guess it's not actually a 15th anniversary thing. But they're doing these box topper Drive +1 packs. That is 1 triple rare or double rare from the set with a chance of parallel or something. Oh no. They do say right here 15th anniversary. Yeah, that's 15th anniversary thing. Okay. But nothing on the pack actually says that. So this is something that the Yu-Gi-Oh! OCG has done for a decade at this point. So I'm not surprised to see this. I hope it's like a permanent fixture. Um, and that we get it in English as well. Because we could use like any improvement on our general pull rates. So I'd appreciate something like this. Um, to be a permanent fixture. But it's a bit weird. There's something like a bit weird about this because as we'll get into later, there is a structure change to the product happening with DZ14, and you would think you would line this up with that, but no, it's coming with DZ13. Um, they showed one of the DSRs for DZ13, which is the new Soicha boss. They showed off some stuff for Bang Dream. Don't really care about that. They showed off DZ14 for the first time. Um, which is exactly what you would expect. Dark States Gabuelius on the front. Um, and then they showed off two more collabs, Yakuza and Inazuma 11. For what it's worth, these are fairly exciting collabs. That like they're not like things that I would have like expected. They're not like things that are like super in Bushiroad's purview. Like they're not like a lot of the Vanguard collabs are like, yeah, okay, yeah, because it's like properties that like Bushiroad owns themselves or has like worked with in some capacity in their other games that they do collabs in. I guess Mushi King wasn't that, but like a lot of the time I'm not like super surprised by what we're getting for collabs, right? Um, Yakuza is cool. I like Yakuza quite a lot. And like the reason why that would be the case for Inazuma 11 is because last time that Inazuma 11 was active, um, it had its own card game. But it doesn't. It's finally released. Victory Road, which was in development hell forever. Um, and they don't have a card game now, obviously. So yeah, I guess this makes sense. I do like Inazuma 11 quite a lot. I like a lot of the level 5 properties quite a lot. I would be much more excited for Dansen, to be quite honest with you. But Inazuma 11 is still pretty cool. This is like these like I felt like I was in Bizarro World because like I've spent all these years being I hate collabs, and like they finally show two collabs that make me give a shit. Um and like everyone else is like who cares about these collabs? I'm like, I care about these collabs. These are pretty big properties. What are we talking about? Do you not engage? Like with Inazuma 11, it makes me feel particularly insane because like you people, like so many Vanguard players got in through the anime, and you're telling me that you don't engage with other hobby Annie? You don't engage with level 5 stuff? It's like the same shit, man. um but on that note, it seems that we're going further into doing collab boosters, dedicated collab boosters again, and dedicated collab starter decks again, which I'm not a huge fan of. If we have to do collabs, I much prefer the structure of, okay, we build the collab to be like one deck or maybe two decks, and we just put them as a bonus in a core booster. We don't add more products to our release schedule, and it helps push our core booster that are still ultimately pushing the core identity of the brand. I'm really not a fan of this move over the last Buddy Fight really started it. A move back into doing collab boosters again. I don't like it. I really don't like it. I really preferred it when we were just throwing them into booster packs. Like if we have to do collabs, I would much prefer we be doing that. And there's a new special series product in May. That's just going to be the festival booster, just like it always is. So no surprises there. So let us move on from that into the Tuesday stream. So they talked about they're doing a new web novel series. They also talked a bit about those starter decks. So they say it pretty explicitly in the stream, but as you can see here, all encounter units have these this like grayish border thing, that is always used to like indicate, hey, this is an old unit and all of this time. The Blaster Blade and Draconic Overlord don't have them. They look like normal cards. They have the clan icon, of course, And they have this other icon at the bottom left, which is like, I feel similar to like, it's like similar to like how owners Pokemon are in Pokemon. It's not clear at this stage if they count as like a different name. I would assume they don't. But it seems that there are going to be cards in these starter decks that reference other cards with these icons. So that's cool. And like what I really like about this is like we'll have to see how the starter decks fully pan out, but these seems to suggest that these aren't like supposed to be like just Blaster Blade and Draconic Overlord as you remember it. It's more like the Blaster Blade and the Draconic Overlord and other such units that they used that Aichi and Kai like projected themselves onto, like the avatar versions. And like a big part of my issue with encounters is that it's just the same guy. It's just the same guy. Like from like a like effect wise, they're different, right? But as far as like the unit themselves, it's the exact same unit I've already seen before in OG or G era, and then again in V era. Um, and like whenever there was legacy support in G era, we would get like new Blaster Blades, we would get new Draconic Overlords, but that was always like it was always depicting like a different stage in that character's life. Um, like there would be more details in their lore, especially like I always think of the Lu, that was a core part of the Blaster engine in G that came out in GBT06. And that was depicting a significantly grown-up Lu from the one that we had seen in the OG era. Stride versions of these characters that we've seen before would be some future version that might not be the one that ends up happening this timeline, but informs us about what's happened with the character, and we would get some cool lore stuff with it. And it would be like, it wouldn't be the exact same thing again. It would be some expansion on the existing character. Um, and with encounters thus far, there's been none of that. It's just been, hey, here he is, as you remember them. Um, and like, and like, I do kind of like the idea of like, hey, this isn't like actually necessarily the unit. It's like the version of the unit that these characters from the anime envisioned themselves becoming. That's like a different spin on it. Also, as someone who has really disliked a lot of Akira Ito's uh uh Vanguard art, card art, since like Vera, I like both of these arts a lot. I really love the imagery on the Draconic Overlord. Like this, I like. It's such a fitting idea for season one Kai, for him to be like, for like him to be like submerging himself into his image of Overlord, to hide away from like all the bad things that happened to him regarding his family. Like really great stuff with that. I really love that imagery on Draconic Overlord. um and like my big issue with a lot of Kirito's art in like V era onward is like particularly on the humanoid characters, because he draws the eyes in a very particular way that I don't like. Um and he did a good job on this Blaster Blade where like the eyes aren't in focus enough that it like bugs me. And also like the rest of the art actually fits stylistically with like the kind of over detail he tends to give the eyes. So it works a lot better. Yeah, I'm actually kind of excited for both of these. Also, like just generally speaking, a new Blaster Blade with assumingly a better effect is going to be a really big deal for Alfred and LB, because like it will improve their ride line a lot. And depending on how this ride line goes, they might just replace the whole ride line. We'll have to see. But this is really exciting for those decks just in general. Yeah, I'm pretty excited for these start decks. I'm pretty excited for them. But they are they are structured very similar to the Skyride decks, which is good. When I was opening this, when the Skyride decks came out, I remember making a point in my video where like these are the first like good starter products that Vanguard has put out in years. In years, I don't think we've had a starter product as good as those that like knew how to be a starter product since like the Legend decks back in G. And like it was so refreshing seeing Bushiroad seemingly remember how to make a starter product that is like good for getting in on, and feels good to open. And these are the same structure. They have the ace unit is like guaranteed, not the ace unit as like type of card. Like I assume they mean Blaster Bane. Draconic Overlord here are guaranteed triple rare, and then there are 2 random other triple rare parallel foils um that are randomly chosen from the rest of the cards in the deck, which means you have a chance of the energy generator being a triple rare foil, stuff like that. And I like they never marketed the God decks thing with the Skyride decks. It was just something they kept secret, and then people found out when they started opening the decks. So I assume it's something similar here. Over triggers are reprints of Armatonia and Drake Vita, as you'd expect. Each one will have a Regalis piece. It's not super clear if the Regalis pieces are new ones or reprints of old ones. I would expect reprints of old ones. Um, we know there are 4 total reprints in these decks. And there's also 1 special reprint from their nation. I assume these will be fairly similar to the Philanderer and Shenri special reprints in the Skyride decks, where you get 1 copy of it. And it's like some like important generic reprint for the nation. Like maybe it's like Latifah or something for Dragon Empire. I don't know. Lots of stuff you could do for that for Keter. Like Saragon would be super nice to see. Though Saragon is already getting a reprint, so they might go for something else. That's not happening in Japanese, so who knows? Like those were really good in the Skyride Star decks, so it would be nice if these had been spread out more among nations. But it's like it's Shinkai. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And like beyond that, if those okay, so assuming the Regalis pieces are reprints, that leaves us with 1 more reprint. One that tells us that the triggers are new. So the triggers are probably like old units, maybe with the iChain Kai tags. And maybe there'll be like some special counterblast thing with the tags. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what they do with that. But there's no way enough reprint slots in these decks for there to be triggers being the reprints as well. Maybe the Perfect Guard is the remaining reprint. But like if they're doing new triggers, I imagine they do new Perfect Guards as well. Um, we really for Dragon Empire, they really need to make sure they either reprint Halbei or they print a new better Halbei in this deck. Um, like if they don't do that, they have screwed up a massive opportunity to fix the price of that card. But whatever. That's all I have to say on that stuff at this time. DCPT 14, they confirmed that the Soricho Phantom is going to be there. Pretty certain that this was going to be the case, as is. And then we have the cards that they revealed. So it was what? It was 2 Juicy Fruity cards. No, 1 Juicy Fruity card and 2 Lisciafael cards. So they were rare for Juicy Fruity. When it's placed on rear from hand, if there's a plant token, you can counterblast 1 draw card. If you have a Vanguard with Juicy Fruity in its card name, gets power plus 5k, shield plus 5k. This is basically an exact clone of like a rare or a common from DZ2, I think. That was generic for Storicha. So it's not very impressive. It's an alright card, but it's not like super impressive. It doesn't really make Juicy Fruity a real deck. Then for Lisciafael, we have this grade 1. Gets the following effects when you have a grade 3 or greater Lisciafael Vanguard. Act, rest this, choose 1 of your units. It gets plus 10k, and then retire this at the end of the turn, but that's not going to happen because it's going to end up going to Soul. When it's pointed to Soul from Rearguard Circle by the ability of your Vanguard, choose 1 of your non-sentinel rearguards. During this turn, it gets at the end of the turn, return this unit back to hand. Bouncing isn't something that Lisciafael really had, but it's nice to be able to bounce like their restander. That's some pretty cool stuff to be doing. Yeah, it's pretty alright. Pretty nice card overall. And then grade 1, simple. Wins in the Soul during your battle phase. If your grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Lisciafael in its name stands, you may call this onto your center rearguard circle. So it's effectively a restanding booster for Lisciafael. Really nice because you get to like you effectively get to give some extra power to Lisciafael for free if this was on your field. Um, it's just pretty nice overall. I like this card. I think this card is pretty great. I'm always pretty happy with restanding boosters. I prefer them to do a bit more than like nothing like this one does, but like it's still like pretty nice. Advance up your soul, and you didn't like some other way, and like we are we have other stuff on our field that we're shoving in. We just get to call it out. It's a pretty nice card. I like this card. This is pretty cool common. So that's just what I was talking about before. Thursday stream. I actually want to touch on the English. Okay, here it is. Okay, so yeah, this is the page for that. Yeah, here it is. Okay. So, so this is the English pages. We're getting it on May 22nd. So yeah, it's Blaster Blade or Draconic Overlord who get the guaranteed triple rare treatment. And then here's where it says 4 reprints, 14 new cards, which I was talking about before. There's another thing I want to talk about here, which is it says here 1 pre-constructed deck, 55 cards plus energy generator. You might know that the deck size of Cardfight Vanguard is 50 cards plus a 4-card ride deck plus the energy generator, right? So that should be 54 plus energy generator, right? So there's a 55th card in here. That might be I assume that would mean like some sort of crest for these decks. That would make the most sense. But it is something I wanted to point out that like, oh, there's an extra card in here that normally should not be in here. Might be something fancy, might just be like a standard crest, but like we haven't seen a crest for non-stride decks. So that on its own is like would be quite something. So we'll see what that turns out to be. We will see what that turns out to be. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the Thursday cards. So Thursday stream, we got batches of reveals for 2 different storage decks. We got Leverage cards and we got Lianorn cards. Let's talk about this Leverage triple rare real quick because this card's an enigma. So grade 2, when it's placed on rearguard circle, and if there's an Infinity Arts marker on the same column as this unit, count mass 1, choose one of the following, and during this turn, this unit gets power plus 5k. You either draw 1 or you call a grade 3 or below from drop to rear, and then on attack, if you have 3 or more Infinity Arts markers during this battle, this gets power plus 5k. So it's like marginally better Huli. However, you might recall a couple weeks ago, they also revealed a better Huli for Levidras in the most recent tournament pack. And let me tell you, this card is a way better Huli than this card. Like that card, that triple rare is just like kind of marginally better. Like it's just kind of like a side grade that's just like more versatile. This gets its power easier. It intercepts from back row. It deck thins. It works in the early game. It can be used without spending counterblast. It's just so much better in like every regard. Its only weakness is that it only gets power plus 5k total versus power plus 10k, but it does so many other things so much better. Like early game important. That's something that Leverage really wants. It's something that's historically been really lacking in. It's so strange seeing a triple rare that's like just significantly worse than the promo that they just revealed. Weird, very strange. The other Leverage card, I think this other Leverage card is more likely to see play. This is just a 10k that on attack, if there are 2 or more of your Infinity markers in the same column as this unit, it gets the Baldoria effect. I can see a world where like you can get some good usage out of the Baldoria effect in Leverage. So like that's a nice enough thing to have access to. Lianorn, my beloved. So Lianorn got this grade 1, 15k power, 10k shield base You can't ride it. You cannot attack or boost with it if you do not have a Lianorn Vanguard. In the drop, when your Great Lianorn Vanguard enters, and you do not have a rare with the same name as this unit, you can Soul Blast 1 Lianorn to call to rear, so it's not even live until turn 4. This card is honestly kind of bad. If I'm being perfectly honest, I just don't think this card is actually that good. Yeah, like the stat line was scary when we saw it because it's like, oh, surely they won't make like these sorts of gimmick cards are usually like at low rarity. Surely if it's a double rare, it'll actually be good. But no, it just seems like, just still seems kind of bad. Yeah. And then we have the rare card for Lianorn. When your Great Lianorn Vanguard attacks and you have 3 or more units with boost, you can Soul Blast 1. No. When you're a Great Greater, thank you for the doing. When you're a Great Greater, Lianorn Vanguard is attacked and you have 3 or more units with boost, you Soul Blast 1, move this to Guardian Circle, and it gets shield plus 5k. I feel like I'm more likely to run this card than that other card, if I'm being perfectly honest. I kind of like this effect more. Because like it can actually guard from the back row and still represents 10k shield. Like, I think I like this card more, to be quite honest with you. um okay. Yeah, there's nothing else to really talk about with DZ13, right? No. Okay. We talked about the start decks. Doo-doo. DZ14, they talked about how they are they are changing the case size from 20 boxes to 12 boxes. Basically, they talked about how like they're not really changing any pull rates here. The reason they're doing this is because like it's for smaller stores that are looking to like start stocking Vanguard. It's easier to order a case of 12 boxes like than 20 boxes. And for the bigger stores, like it's not going to be an issue. They're they're already going to be able to churn through 24 just as easily as 20. I see this as overall like a net good. I don't see any really like issue with this. Like pull rates are ultimately going to be the same. If you're doing case splits, it might hurt a bit, but most of what I see these days are nation splits with the guaranteed play sets. And if pull rates aren't changing, that's not really going to change here. Um, Personally, I haven't trusted case splits at all since I did a case split of GBTO6 way back in the day for the Grand Blue part, and the case had 1 perfect guard and like 2 Negro Lazy. And I was like, well, I got screwed here. But yeah. I see this as like I really can't see any significant downside to this, and like this is just easier on smaller stores. So I think this is like overall a positive move. And then we have cards of the day. The main thing cards of the day were showing were a new batch of perfect cards. I do find it a bit weird that we're doing a new batch of perfect cards so close to the end of a series. The coping part of my brain is going, oh, that's because we're going to do different effects with the perfect cards in the new series. And I hope that's true. I would really love if that was true. If we do that, I'll be extremely happy. But that's for later in this year. For now, the arts on these new PGs are pretty nice. This is the Dragon Empire one. Looks really nice. I like it a lot. And then this is just grade 3. It gets boost if all rear guards in the same column as this unit get boost if your opponent has no rears in the same column. Garbage. This is the Dark States one. 1,000,000 stocks for Steam Maiden, but like the art is really good. I like this card a lot. I like this art a lot. Grade 2, auto rear once per turn. When a card with the same name as this unit gets soul charged and your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or above. During this turn, this unit gets power plus 10k. I think it would be fine if this could be live when your opponent's on grade 2, to be quite honest with you. There are much easier plus 10ks in this world than this when the opponent's still at grade 2. Doo-doo. Okay. This is the Brand Gate one. Also looks really nice. Like this card a lot. Really nice art. This Brink grade 3 is a bit interesting. I actually kind of like this design. So for each card in your damage zone, the cost of this effect is reduced by 1 energy. And on attack, it's Energy Blast 5. During this battle, this unit gets power plus 10k. So when you're at like 5 damage, it's a free 4 damage. It's like 1. When it's at 3, it gets hard to justify, but like 2 to 0 is like pretty alright. It's just that it's a grade 3 is the biggest problem. Like I think this would be a card I would maybe consider if it was like grade 2 and it was like plus 15k. That would be a sick card. Really close with this design. I do think it's an interesting card though, regardless. And then we have the new Keter Perfect Guard, also looks really nice. And then the Keter Common, grade 2. During this turn, if any of your cards entered that is not what what that card says, Freedom Duo. That's not what that card says. Yeah, it's if a Vanguard entered play by a card ability this turn. This unit gets power plus 5k, shield plus 5k. It needs, for this card to be effective, it needs both you and your opponent to be playing decks that function in this way. And for doing so, you just get a plus 5k power, plus 5k shield. Like, it's bad. It's awful. And then for the streams next week, Tuesday, we have the Blangdemeyer Phantom reveals. They gave it healing, so we have Keter has caught up to Lyrical Sanctuary. Lyrical Monasterio. Lyrical Sanctuary. But no. We've caught up to Lyrical Monasterio on being allowed to do healing stuff. If we keep going, we might get an Angel Feather deck by the end of the year. Who knows? It could happen. I am really glad to see them finally like start doing heal stuff, damage manipulation stuff properly in Keter. I mean, I really hope it leads to a deck that has the Angel Feather playstyle in the near future. So yeah. But we'll see the rest on how this Blangdemeyer Phantom works. Then one thing I'm really glad about is that it doesn't do any of the nonsense card restrict stuff that original Blangdemeyer did. I really hate that type of design. So Blangdemeyer Phantom not doing it made me really happy. But we'll see the full details next week. And then Thursday, we are getting the a bunch of stuff from the Dragonic Overlord Star deck. So we'll be getting a lot of details on how this stuff works very soon. I'm surprised they're doing it this early, because the Star decks are still going to be like a month away at this point. But that's fine. That's chill. That's pretty cool. I'm very interested in seeing how this stuff goes. I'll be honest. This full art does look a bit worse, but like it's not supposed to be viewed like that. It's supposed to have a text here, so like it won't look like that on an actual card. And with that said, that's going to be it for me. This is Hunter Surge signing off.